Awesome. Hello, Ruby and Priyanka. How are you guys doing?
Great. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, okay. Awesome, guys. Before we start, I just want to give you a simple disclaimer. This entire conversation is going to be recorded and posted on YouTube, which is going to help in the marketing of both your business as well as mine. Are you guys okay with that, Priyanka?
Yeah.
Outstanding. How about you, Ruby?
Yep, definitely.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, guys. So why don't we start off by introducing yourself? Priyanka first. Why don't you go? Why don't you introduce yourself and also tell us how you got into comedy?
Okay. So for uh, the internet world out there, my name is Priyanka Wally, and I'm a stand-up comedian. I've been doing comedy for a little over 2 years now,
Mhm.
and I got into stand-up really as a initial kind of desire to face my fears. I was really scared of doing stand up, and I thought to myself, wow, I really shouldn't have any fears, so let me face this. And it was definitely one of the better decisions I've made.
Awesome, awesome, outstanding. How about you, Ruby?
Hi, I'm Ruby Gill. I pursue stand-up comedy at night, and I have been for the last almost 2 years now.
Beautiful.
Um, I actually got started when I was 21. I'd written a lot of songs, and I would perform them at music open mics only. But they
Hmm.
were funny songs, and I didn't have the confidence yet to get started in stand-up. I was definitely comfortable pursuing music in an
Hmm.
amateur kind of way,
Hmm.
but I hadn't really developed myself, and it wasn't until I was 27 and really looking at a lot of the things that I've written and just said, I think it's just time to go for it. And so I went to a stand-up open mic, and I haven't looked back since.
Beautiful. Yeah, good job. You guys are all doing great. I watched some of your clips, and both you guys are doing really awesome. And I'm looking forward to you guys performing on stage next week at the Desi Fest.
Yeah, we're really excited to be a part of the Desi Festival. It's going to be really amazing. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. So why don't we start off by, it's the same question. So for both of you guys, how did you guys get started off? So, I mean, how did you guys get connected with Samson and all the rest of the group for the Desi Fest festival? So Priyanka, do you want to go first?
Sure. I actually first met, so the festival's run by both Samson and Ubhai, and I met Ubhai first. I was
Okay.
actually doing I think it was like a Desi event. It was like a mixed kind of music and comedy night in
Okay.
the city, and there were three comedians or maybe there were two comedians. I can't remember, but Abhay was one of the comedians. I was one, and so that's when I first met him. Um,
Awesome.
and so at that time, he was heavily promoting Comic Confessions, and he had just finished the first run of the Desi Festival the first
Okay.
time. So I had heard about him through the grapevine, and so anyways, that's how we connected. And I met Samson later at a
Okay.
show. We had done a show together, so that's kind of how I got to know them. And that's a pretty common story. You know, comedians run into each other all the time. So
Right.
yeah, that's kind of how it worked out for me.
That's awesome. Awesome. How about you, Ruby? How did you get involved with the Desi Fest?
Yeah, both Samson and Abhay run it, and I met Samson last year. He runs a great show in Oakland, comedy off Broadway, every Thursday and Friday night, and I was up at one of his shows. I met him, and he's really fun to work with, and I've always had a great time with him. And then Abhay, I think I'd met him at a few open mics in San Francisco first,
Hmm.
and I would definitely say this with Abhay, and actually a lot of the Desi comedians that I've met in the Bay Area. It's just been like great. You definitely feel like connected and definitely part of a bigger community, and I don't know, it's kind of powerful. It's pretty nice.
Yes. Yes. Both of these guys are very nice gentlemen, so it's very nice working with them because I'm doing the social media promotions for the Desi Fest here in Sacramento. So even though I've never really met these guys face to face, I've been kind of connected with Samson for the last 2 or 3 years on Facebook. And what I can tell you is every conversation that I've had with him, the like he's a very easy to go guy, and he's very nice to work with.
Oh, totally. Yeah, he's a total sweetheart. They're both sweethearts.
Right, right, right. Yeah. So, where else have you guys performed other than the Desi Fest? Because I look at the schedule, and it seems like some of you have actually performed at Comedy Central and a whole lot of other places. So, let's start with Priyanka. Like, what are your other accomplishments in terms of comedy?
Well, my other comedy accomplishments include performing at the Punchline and at Cobb's, which are both pretty, I'd say, great kind of well-noted clubs in San Francisco.
Hmm.
Those were kind of very personal, sort of personal achievements for me.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm trying to think what other places. I will be doing a festival in Burbank in the next 2 weeks, so at the
Oh, wow.
Burbank Comedy Festival. So I'm really looking forward to that, and kind of performing in Los Angeles. That will be very exciting for me personally.
Outstanding, outstanding. How about you, Ruby?
Yeah, similar to Priyanka, when I performed at the SF Punchline, it was a great experience and definitely a marker on how I'd done. So I've performed there twice, and just this last summer I was in the Redwood Comedy Festival, which is about 5 hours north of San Francisco, and
Awesome.
met comedians from all over, and it was a great time.
Awesome. It's just interesting how this entire scene is opening up and how a lot of Indians are stepping into this role, when typically, the brand is kind of like you are either own a 7-Eleven or you do some computer related job.
Right.
I mean, the first time I even realized that there was an Indian stand-up comedian is when I watched Russell Peters on YouTube. This was maybe a year or 2 years ago. Before that, I didn't even realize that there were Indian stand-up comedians.
Yeah, I
And
think
now,
Russell. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate you guys for, for being kind of the trendsetters and, kind of setting up the stage for all the comedians who come after you.
Oh, well, thank you. That's
Thank
really
you.
so sweet. I was just gonna add that, yeah, I think Russell Peters like did definitely kind of set like a very kind of open stage for a lot of like Indian comedians. Like I know I personally like after I watched him, like it
Right.
really I was moved. Like I found it to be really inspiring.
Absolutely. How about you, Ruby?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. It's a wonderful way to kind of understand your place as first generation, second generation, wherever you may kind of fall, and just that kind of cultural connectivity is so
Yeah.
interesting and important that you can kind of gain that from stand up. It's really beautiful.
Awesome, awesome. And Priyanka, you are also a doctor, right?
hmm Yeah, I'm a practicing physician in San Francisco.
That's unbelievable because doctors usually work like 24 hours, right? I mean, they have pretty tight schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tired a lot. I don't work nights. I work days, and I don't I don't work like full time like I think a regular physician would.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's probably the most reasonable thing, given the lifestyle choice that I've decided.
Yeah, yeah, that's very admirable because you're actually able to balance two tough jobs.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels like I'm working two jobs doing medicine and stand up. I mean, the stand up is exhausting from a physical standpoint. I mean, just like being out late performing, physically it's very taxing. So yeah, no, it's definitely a lot of stuff, and I'm basically tired like all the time.
Okay, can I give you a suggestion?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
See, Jerry Seinfeld talks about this because there was a video that I watched about Jerry Seinfeld like a couple of months ago, where
Okay.
he basically talks about trance meditational meditation. You know that what is it called? It's trance something meditation.
Yeah, he would go to these retreats and do like mezcal or peyote, and then
Right.
meditate along those lines. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he does that kind of stuff, but the other stuff that he's really talking about is, which you actually do at the comfort of your own home or your office, wherever you are, twice a day. And what he basically says is it's almost like sleeping for 3 or 4 hours. It's almost like taking a nap for a couple of hours,
Hmm.
even though you're just doing it for 10 minutes actually at a time, twice a day.
Hmm. I'll have to give that a try.
Yes, ma'am. I will share that video with you, so you can actually watch it and hopefully that will help you because he talks about the exact same thing. Because when you're talking about comedy, you're basically going into a room full of people and you're making them laugh, right?
Correct.
Very true. On the good nights, that's exactly what happens.
Absolutely. So it can be pretty stressful at times. So I will share the video with both of you, and hopefully that will help you guys as well.
Thank you so much, Raj. That's wonderful.
Not a problem. And then the last question I wanted to ask both of you guys was, have you guys ever encountered any challenges? Because again, I don't know about the comedy industry and the fact that even as Indians you're breaking in. Have you encountered any kind of challenges at all? So again, maybe we'll let Priyanka go first.
Well, I mean, do you want the short answer or the long answer? Because I could go on for
Okay,
hours
I
about
have all the time in
challenges.
the world. I'm in no hurry. So go as long as you have to. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, sure. I mean, there's lots of challenges all the time. I mean, there's one. I mean, there's being a female comic is one thing. Being a female comic of color is a totally different thing. And then there's also just like the logistical challenges of doing stand up. So, like, which of those three things do you want me to get into? Because I could talk about that for a long time. I mean, there's like, yeah, it's just there's so many challenges.
Oh, okay. In that case, let me rephrase the question. See, compared to, let's say, like 3 years ago, the challenges that you had, and right now, do you see the challenges getting any better, or are they getting worse?
Well, I don't know if they're necessarily getting better or worse. I mean, I think like I can speak at least from my own experience that
Mhm.
like doing stand up, I've learned that every time I get up on stage, like it doesn't really matter what type of audience there is. Like I still have to work to debunk certain stereotypes that are present. Like
Mhm.
maybe addressing the fact that my name is Priyanka Wally. Like I have to deal with that, or deal with the fact that I look the way I look. That I'm not like whatever stereotypes people want to assume about me because of my name, the way I look, or whatever. And
Sure.
whether or not that's actually gotten better, I don't know. I think what's maybe changed is my reaction to the process. I mean, I've adapted to that. So I don't know. And 3 years is still not that long of a time,
Mhm.
So people do this for like decades, literally. So um, I don't know.
Awesome, awesome. So the fact that your mindset has changed, so technically things are getting better for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, if you lower your standards enough, you can be plenty happy.
Awesome. So how about you,
Realistic
Ruby?
expectations.
Lower
um,
the expectations.
yeah, it's just about realistic expectations. I mean, yeah, I think there are definitely challenges. You know, working as a female performer, in this industry, I think it's
Mhm.
kind of hard. you, like Priyanka touched upon, you really are trying to debunk a lot of stereotypes. You
Mm,
know, I think you go on stage and people want to see what they see, and they want you to be a certain way, and you have to. You, I know for me, it's easier to start playing into it and then just shift them completely and
right.
change course and kind of just show them that yes, I am definitely a female whose parents were born in India. I have an Indian culture. I have an American culture. I'm a mix of everything, and I think
Sure.
that's true of most people. You just kind of you have to show how multidimensional you are, and it can sometimes connect within someone else.
Mhm.
Awesome, awesome. So, again, I'm not a stand-up comedian, but one of the things that I struggle with, especially when I go out to have lunch or dinner with people, because I'm 100% vegetarian, just to give you an
Me
example.
too.
And
Ew.
thank you. Yes, yes. So that's a conversation I've been having for 17 years, because when I'm with people from around here, they usually fill up the plate with meat, and I usually fill up my plate with vegetables, maybe a little bit of meat here and there, but for the most part, it's all vegetables. And they'll
Mhm.
usually go, "Oh, so you don't get hungry till the next meal or whatever, So it's been interesting explaining to people that you can actually fill yourself with vegetables and fruit. It's been done before. So I'm sure, again, when you're doing comedy, you kind of run into stereotypes, and that's something that you work with every single day. That's all. That's great. The very last question I have for today is, how do you guys do your scripting? Like, let's say you're doing one show today in Sacramento, and tomorrow you're doing one in Oakland. Like,
Mhm.
do you use the exact same script, or how does it really work with you guys? So again, maybe this time we'll let Ruby go first, because just to switch the things up. Yes.
Um, I think it changes. Every performance is unique to, everything else. You kind of have to, one thing that you hopefully develop over time in stand-up is being able to take the temperature of a room to see,
Okay.
who's here, what are they laughing at, what are they responding to, what do they want, and you kind of have to quickly pick up on these things. So for
Mhm.
me, there are things that I definitely want to try, maybe that are new jokes, and maybe I'll weave them within what I already want to talk about. And then
Sure.
there's some points that you kind of just see, even while you're standing up there. You may come up in your mind with a list of 5 jokes that you want to tell, and
Right.
then while you're up there, some other element, maybe audience interaction, will kind of take you to another place. And it's just kind of about staying on your feet and uh, staying on your, yeah, just rolling with it and
Awesome.
keeping the audience entertained.
That's outstanding. How about you, Priyanka?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with Ruby. I think she's summed it perfectly. I definitely don't think the same material carries over from one city to another. It totally depends on the audience, and I've even experimented with doing literally the same exact material 2 shows in a row and
Hmm.
having completely different responses.
Oh, okay.
So you have to know the audience. Without knowing your audience, that you're not gonna kind of know what they want. At the end of the day, like this, even though stand up is like a solo art, it is
Mhm.
the job of the comedian to connect with the
Yes.
audience. And so if you don't connect with them by understanding them, you haven't done your job. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much, ladies, and I look forward to seeing both of you perform next week at the Desi Fest at the Punchline on August 12th.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Raj.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
this is
Priyanka.
great.
Yeah, thank you, Ruby. Do you guys have anything to say at the very end?
No, just we're looking forward to getting as many people out as possible, and it's definitely going to be many good shows, and it'll definitely be a good time.
Yeah, there's a
Awesome.
lot of talented performers, and it'll be really interesting to see us all connect together as a community.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. I cannot agree more. So thank you very much for your time and good luck, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Raj.
Bye-bye.
Looking forward to it.